Hello and welcome to The Way Home, Crossnore Communities for Children's Facebook Live show, as well as our podcast. My name is Holly Kessler, and I am Crossnore's Senior Director of Community Relations. We are here every Tuesday afternoon talking with some of our staff members or community partners. We enjoy talking about the work that we do, the child welfare system, ways that we're engaging in our community, and much, much more. So if you miss our live show, you can always rewatch it on our Facebook feed or on our YouTube channel. And then the podcast comes out on Fridays at crossnore.org. There are plenty of ways to engage with us, and we are glad that you're here. Today, my guest is Elizabeth O'Hagan. Elizabeth is our Fostering Communities Officer on the Avery campus up in the mountains, and she is here to share about the many ways to support Crossnore's work through in-kind giving. So join me in saying hello to Elizabeth today. Hey, friend.
Hello, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. The sun is shining today. We didn't get snow this weekend, so that's good.
Well, there you go. That's awesome. Because in the mountains, you never know when it might come, right? Yeah, absolutely. Well, why don't you start out by introducing yourself? Tell us about your role at Crossnore as a Fostering Communities Officer, and then anything else that you want to share.
Sure. So again, my name is Elizabeth O'Hagan. I am from the area here in the mountains. So I have had a lifelong connection with Crossnore that goes almost back to the founding of the school.
Wow.
To the point that my grandmother worked as a nurse with Dr. Eustace Sloop, and he did house calls in our neighborhood.
Wow.
And, my father went to the high school that Mary Martin Sloop built. So long connection with Crossnore. It took me a while to come to work here just because of the way things worked out. But now that I am here as Fostering Communities Officer, I get to do a lot of things that I love, like giving tours, working with volunteers. I get to go out and do presentations to civic groups and church groups, and lots of work with people, which I absolutely love, and sharing the story of Crossnore and how they can help.
That is great. And you're also very, very good at it. In all the years that we've known each other, I had no idea that your family went back that far in Crossnore history. That is amazing.
Yeah. My joke is it's just taken me this many years of my life for Crossnore to find something they were willing to pay me to do.
Oh my goodness. No, we are very, very fortunate to have you for sure. So we are here to talk about ways that folks support Crossnore in-kind giving. So why don't you tell us what exactly in-kind giving is?
Sure. So the easy answer to that is in-kind giving is the giving of stuff. It's donations of items instead of monetary donations. For instance, we often ask for donations of bed in a bags, toiletry items, things like that for the kids that we use in our programs. So anything that is not cash is considered an in-kind donation. That can even include things like tickets to different sporting events, or sometimes we will have people call and give us weeks at a timeshare. So it's those kind of things that are in-kind donations.
And why are those specific kinds of donations so important at Crossnore?
They are vitally important because that means we do not have to go out and spend those cash donations for those items. Okay. So by receiving those items donated to us, we get to use that money in another way that is necessary for us.
Okay.
So it's a huge help.
Absolutely. And you mentioned a couple of things that I wanted to ask you about. So you mentioned like tickets to, it could be sporting events, cultural events. How do we use those tickets?
So it depends on how many we have sometimes, but often we will, if we have enough tickets, we'll send a cottage, including all the kids who are in the cottage and the cottage parents to that event. Sometimes it will be, we just have a couple tickets. So we might do a giveaway for staff and employees where they can call in and claim those tickets. We will also offer them to foster families who are in the community. So basically, we work really hard to make sure that all those donations are put to use, whatever they are, by someone that we serve.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because like you said, even if it's not, if it's 10 or 12 tickets, maybe we can take a whole cottage. But if it's not, if it's, 4, excuse me, then a lot of times, maybe a case manager could take a couple of kids, for a special outing. Or like you said, a foster family. Certainly we share with our foster families in the area quite a bit. And then sometimes it's just a great staff reward to share. So
Absolutely.
yeah, we're super grateful for those kinds of gifts. And then you mentioned timeshares. I think people would be really interested in, like, if somebody gifted Crossnore a week at a vacation home, like, what would we do with that?
Basically, it's a lot like the tickets. So if it's big enough to house a whole cottage, we might be able to send the entire cottage for a break or a vacation. With our new Bridging Families program, we're looking to help them out also. So they may be a smaller group that can take advantage of that timeshare. And again, if it's something that we can't use with the kids or choose not to, our staff work really, really hard, and we want to make sure that they get as much support as possible. And it means a lot to anyone to be recognized for the work that they've done and get an unplanned vacation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, you've mentioned a number of things, in terms of stuff, as you said, that folks donate to us. But there are lots of different ways that people can sort of contribute in these in-kind ways. Can you tell us about different ways that people can give to Crossnore?
Absolutely. So some of the biggest ways are, of course, just sending directly to us, working with a group that you're in, collecting items and dropping them off at one of our campuses. Amazon is a huge one that we use. And I think we'll talk a little bit more in depth about that later, but we definitely Amazon. We are still part of the Box Tops for Education program. So if you collect box tops, of course, now there's not little squares to cut out. It's all gone digital. So you download the app, scan your receipt that shows you purchased an item, and those proceeds come directly to us whenever you choose Marjorie Williams Academy, which is our K through 12 public charter school here on the Avery campus. Similarly, a lot of grocery stores will have programs where a portion of what you purchase is donated to schools. Again, you can look for that Marjorie Williams Academy in Crossnore, North Carolina, and support our school that way. Also, things like Office Depot, Office Max, they have loyalty and rewards programs, Publix, Harris Teeter, Ingles, who am I forgetting? Coke Rewards have the codes in the cap. Those are ending, however, in June. So if you have a stash of those, get those scanned in or typed in so that you can share your donation with us.
Well, that is a lot of different ways that people can help support our work, and I think ways that I would not have thought about at all. So that's pretty amazing. And we have a page on our website called Ways to Give, and so all of those ways are listed there if you want to find out more about how to link your loyalty card or whatever, so that those donations come directly to us. You did mention the Amazon wish list, and that's a big part of our in-kind giving. So how are the lists formulated? Do they change kind of throughout the year? Tell us how we utilize those wish lists.
Sure. So the Amazon wish list began as a way to let people know what our immediate needs were without them having to call in and find out. So when you go to the Amazon list, and now it is a gift registry, the Amazon Smile program was discontinued, so our wish list is gone, but we have a gift registry now. And you can go to that. Each month, those lists are updated and feature a different program that we have on campus. So for instance, This month, I have to look and see. This month is residential summer activities programs because it's April. School gets out at the end of May. We need to be able to have things for these kids to do over the summer. So right now, if you go, you'll see a list of things from our recreation department, from our residential programs about the things that they need right now.
Mhm.
Next month, we'll focus on foster care and their summer needs.
Mhm.
And then the next month, we'll focus on clinical. And those kind of keep rotating throughout the year up until October. Beginning in October, those registries will feature Christmas gifts. And these are not gifts that we just put on willy-nilly. These are gifts that the kids have asked for Christmas. So if you go to our Christmas wish list in October and see a purple and blue teddy bear, it means there is a child on the campus that has asked for a purple and blue teddy bear. So you can rest assured that those gifts really do go to a specific child.
Yeah, I think that's a really unique part of our Amazon gift registry at Christmas is that there are lots of really good works in all of our communities around like angel trees or toy drives or, things like that. But we really try to personalize our gift registry. And so I know you work with like cottage parents and foster parents. So those kids fill out their wish list. And we tell them it's a wish list, right? Like they can put most anything on there that they want, and the adults in their lives help them. It does need to be a little bit within reason. Like
it does.
Nobody can ask for a Ferrari, right?
Well, they can, but it might be very small.
Right. Right. Yeah. But those, like you said, whatever it is, a specific child has asked for. And so we want to make sure at the holidays that we get that into those children's hands specifically.
Mm-hmm.
But then I love what you said too about you rotate through departments throughout the year to make sure all kinds of needs are met. You mentioned the residential, kind of the summer list, but then like for clinical or therapy services, what kinds of things would you put on a list for our therapy services department?
Sure. So our therapists are great at working with kids. And one of the things that they love to be able to do is create a coping skills box with the kids.
Mm-hmm.
And that is basically just a small plastic box that they fill with items that they can use to practice coping skills. So things like Play-Doh, fidgets, different kind of squishy balls, or the bendy strips. I don't have a single one here as an example.
All right. It's okay.
I think they've all been carried off my desk.
Yeah.
But different things like that. Essentially, the coping skills box would have something in it that dealt with all 5 senses.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some amazing scented putties that we'll add in. Sometimes we'll put Tic Tacs in, peppermint or something like that, so that the kids can have the taste sensation. Coloring books, those wonderful adult mandala style coloring books. Our kids love those.
Yeah.
Colored pencils, different children's literature books, because it's amazing what a simple children's book can be used to help a child understand about their situation and where they are.
Yeah, absolutely. Are there things, sort of in the in-kind world that we don't take? Like I know sometimes people will ask me about ink cartridges from your printer. Are there things like that we don't, because we don't take those? So are there other things that we don't take?
Sure. So a few years ago, you could receive those ink cartridges and send them in and get money for them. But that has become so widespread and so common now that it's very hard to find someone who's still taking those. So we unfortunately do not take ink cartridges anymore. The pull tabs off Coke cans, I recommend people send those to Ronald McDonald House because they still have a good, strong program that accepts those. We just don't receive enough to make that a real money earning opportunity for us. used clothing, used toys, things like that. While we greatly appreciate, we can't store those necessarily for the kids.
Mhm.
So, especially for the campuses other than Avery, it's very hard for them to find a way to distribute those quickly.
Right.
Here on the Avery campus, of course, we have the Blair Fraley resale store, and so we can send those used items down there, sell those, and then that comes back as money into the programming that we offer.
Right.
And we have a lot of wonderful people who have supported us regularly throughout the years with things like quilts and knitted hats and scarves. And they are wonderful and we absolutely love them. But we have such a relationship with those few core groups surrounding our
Right.
central campuses that we really don't need extra donations from other places.
Mhm.
So I always encourage people, if you have donations like those, can't get them to the sales store here on the Avery campus, find a foster closet, a foster care
Mhm.
in your area. And
Mhm.
those are generally organizations that offer clothing and shoes and toys and needed items to families who have recently received a new foster child in their care.
Mhm.
Because often when a child is placed with a family, it's going to be almost a full month before the family receives the actual stipend to care for that child.
Right.
Well, kids have a lot of needs. So
Right.
you can't tell a child to wait for a car seat for a month.
Yeah.
They've got to fill those needs immediately. So
Yeah.
definitely look for those foster care closets.
And we've heard of lots of them, around North Carolina that help those families out. And I love that you sort of made the distinction. It's not that we don't necessarily need blankets and hats and scarves. We just already have people that supply that need for us. And so, for those of you who sew or knit or crochet or whatever, there are other organizations that may need those besides Crossnore. So, thank you for that reminder. Why, Elizabeth, is in-kind giving important all year long instead of just at Christmas? We keep that Amazon gift registry up all year. You work really hard to keep it up to date. So why is that year-long giving important?
Well, for anyone who has ever had kids, kids need things year round.
Yeah.
And you never know what a child is going to need necessarily. So, by having those registries open year round and by asking people to take a look at them and utilize them and send donations to us year round, we are able to address all the needs as they come up with the different programs with specific kids. And it really gives us a huge amount of freedom because I don't know how many of you have ever been to Crossnore, North Carolina, but our closest Walmart is 22 miles away. There is no, we'll just run, go pick that up.
Right.
Plan ahead.
Yeah. That's awesome. And I think, you're right. Like we have needs throughout the year. Kids have birthdays throughout the year. They need toiletries throughout the year, so
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, and what about folks, maybe they have, maybe they're part of a book club or they own a small business or something and they want to do like a donation drive. This is a question that I'm often asked when I'm out in the public talking about Crossnore. How do you, you're the Fostering Communities Officer in Avery, but we also have an officer in Winston and one in Hendersonville as well. So how do you guys prefer to handle those donation drives if people are interested in doing that?
So please contact the Fostering Communities Officer at whatever campus you're closest to and find out what the immediate needs are. We have a couple lists that we will often send out to people who want to do a donation drive. One list covers the items that go in those coping skills boxes that we mentioned earlier. So you and your group can work together to get the supplies for the therapist to use to build those coping skills boxes with the children. Another list that we have is called our Evergreen list. And it is called the Evergreen list because we are forever needing everything on the Evergreen list. And it's a pretty expansive list. So everything from bedding and pillows to toiletries and hair bows.
Yeah.
But what I encourage people to do is focus on one specific item or one specific
Mhm.
age group. But definitely reach out to the fostering communities officers. I personally love designing a specific drive for
Yeah.
people to do. I want to know what you're interested in, what you want to support
Mhm.
specifically, and we'll work together to design a drive that gets you feeling wonderful for supporting Crossnore and gives us the items that we need immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. That is terrific. Well, if you're watching our show, Victor has put up a QR code where you can find out some more information. But for those folks who are listening, Elizabeth, where can people find out more about supporting Crossnore?
Sure. Please go to our website, which is crossnore.org. And then you will see a tab at the top that says Give. Click Giving to Crossnore and scroll all the way down to the bottom for other ways to give.
That is true.
If you're on Amazon and want to search for our wish list, you can, at the top of the Amazon page, click Find a Registry and type in Crossnore, and you'll see 3 different lists come up, one for each campus. We do that simply so that the donations that are needed on a specific campus go straight to that campus.
Mhm.
So that takes
Mhm.
out the time of
Mhm.
having to transport things between campuses.
Yes, and thank you for reminding me of that. I'd forgotten to ask you to mention that, but there are, when you search Crossnore, 3 lists come up. So, and you can have those items shipped directly to any of the campuses that you want to support.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, Elizabeth, thank you so much for all the work that you and your colleagues do around fostering communities and supporting all of the children and families that we serve across all of our programs. I really appreciate you being here today and helping people learn more about in-kind giving.
Well, thank you. I love to talk about Crossnore, and we'll take every opportunity possible to do so. So I appreciate it.
And she's not kidding, folks. So,
She's not.
yeah. Well, friends, as I have thanked Elizabeth for being here today, let me also say thanks to each of you who are watching or listening. We so appreciate the opportunity to tell you more about Crossnore. And for more information, please visit our website at crossnore.org. And you can also follow us on our social media channels on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. That's it for today, but I hope you will join us right here next week on the way home.